Hello everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. There have been a number of crossovers with Spawn and Batman, and this is the latest one. Batman Spawn by Todd McFarlane, with art by Greg Capullo. This is the first Batman Spawn crossover since the 90s, and I was eager to get this and see how it might compare to the earlier crossovers. Now, I'll start with the obvious. The art by Greg Capullo is fantastic. He's a pro, and he's definitely doing some of his best work here. Most comics these days have such lackluster art that something like this really stands out. The figures, the layouts, the storytelling, I mean, it's all excellent. I mean, like, look at that nice two-page spread there. That looks great. The writing, on the other hand, is not so great. So McFarlane wrote this story, and I have to say the story is very muddled, and to say the least. And the plot just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the dialogue is not particularly great either. But anyway, let's go ahead and kind of go through this. So the Court of Owls somehow convinces Spawn that Batman has captured the soul of his dead wife, Wanda. And, I mean, it's not clear how they did that, how they went about that. Also, the story seems to suggest that there are multiple courts of owls in different realities or something like that. And we're also told that Spawn's wife and Bruce's parents, particularly his mother, were both murdered on the same night of June 26th. And that their deaths were actually both engineered by the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls responsible for both, somehow. So Batman winds up in Crime Alley, of course, where his parents were killed. And he finds what appears to be one of the pearls from Martha's necklace. And this necklace plays a role in the plot somehow. It's kind of like a talisman or something. I don't know. Anyway, this guy from the Court of Owls appears and taunts him. And then Spawn attacks. And again, this is a great two-page spread here. And this story ignores all the previous crossovers, by the way. It doesn't acknowledge that the other crossovers also happened. And so anyway, there's this fight sequence, and I mean, it's really well done. The action is good. Creative panel work. You know, Capullo's just doing really good stuff here. Then somehow their fight moves into this area where Spawn's powers don't work for some reason. And then Batman realizes that they've both been manipulated by the Court of Owls. And he gets Spawn to start talking instead of fighting. Then we get this meeting of the Court of Owls. And the Court of Owls has some kind of plan to kill Batman. And it involves him being killed on this night. On the night of June 26th. The night his parents died and Spawn's wife died. Now, this whole thing with Bruce's parents and Spawn's wife dying on the same night doesn't make any sense. There's no way Bruce could have been a kid when Spawn's wife was killed. He doesn't even... I mean, Batman himself even makes this observation and suggests that the Court of Owls is manipulating time in some way. But the story doesn't really do anything with that information. It then just kind of ignores it. It feels like McFarlane had to make some mention of how that doesn't make any sense to acknowledge that, yeah, I know, but then, again, he doesn't really do anything to justify it or explain how that can work. I mean, it just feels like weak writing to me, honestly. Anyway, Batman tells Spawn he needs to use his brains more instead of relying on his powers. And then they go out and they start leaning on the criminal world, you know, to try and get information on the Court of Owls, which eventually leads them to Joker. And this is the Joker from, like, the new 52 era, you know, when he had cut his face off, which I never liked and never made sense to me. Anyway, Joker doesn't really give them much information, but they think he's working with the Court of Owls, and he says no, he's not, and he actually wants the Court of Owls eliminated himself because he sees them as a rival and he wishes them luck. And they leave, and then we see that he's somehow involved with the Violator, because you see these little Violator, I don't know, clones or whatever you want to call them. And again, we get this great two-page spread here. Then this Talon that is working for the Court of Owls, he goes to Crime Alley, and he gets the pearl. That, I guess, Batman dropped it. Odd that he would just leave that behind, but whatever. And then, what, so Spawn then kidnaps this leader of the Court of Owls to bait the Talon to come and fight them. And then they have this showdown. Actually, it's in the courtyard of Arkham Asylum. And Arkham Asylum is another one of these dead zones where Spawn's powers don't work. And, I mean, honestly, it's... So, this all has to do with the Court of Owls wants to kill Batman on this night. And somehow doing this will open, like, some kind of portal to other dimensions or something. And I guess the Court of Owls thinks this will make them powerful or something. And the pearl necklace somehow plays a role in this. It's not really clear how. Anyway, they fight this Talon. And, anyway, they beat him, and, I mean, really, this doesn't make a lot of sense. And it sets up kind of a sequel story that I guess is going to involve the Violator or something. I don't know. Anyway, overall, this is pretty disappointing. The art is great. The story, as I said, doesn't make a lot of sense. And the dialogue by McFarlane, I mean, he was never a great writer back in the 90s, and he hasn't gotten any better. You know, there's a lot of, like, tough guy talk, lots of posturing, and making threats. But the storytelling is really just kind of clumsy, and the dialogue is really just kind of stilted. Like, take this example. So, tired, Spawn allows himself a moment's respite, but another enemy lurks. But the bat is an owl's natural enemy. I mean, what, is it? Is it really? I mean, how? How are bats and owls natural enemies? I don't think that's accurate. And there are other examples. I mean, the villain's motivations are vague, to say the least. I mean, what do they gain from all this? I mean, they'll kill Batman, but there are probably simpler ways to go about that, aren't there? And this connection they draw between the deaths of Batman's parents and Spawn's wife, it's just not convincing at all. So, I mean, if you're going to get it for the art, I guess. I mean, personally, I'm giving this a thumbs down myself. The writing is just, it's not good. Anyway, there have been previous Spawn Batman team-ups, and I decided to pull those out, and I'm going to reread these. I haven't read these in years, and I'm going to compare them with this one. So I'll have reviews coming on those. And this is the one, I mean, people were really excited about. This was published by Image, written by Frank Miller with art by McFarlane. And then DC also did one as well, with writing by Doug Munch and Chuck Dixon, with art by Alan Grant and Klaus Janson. So it'll be fun to reread these and kind of compare them, and those will be coming soon. In the meantime, have you read Spawn Batman, and what did you think of it, and what did you think of my review? Do you agree or disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comments, and please like, share, and sub to the channel, and hit the bell, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.